What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. Salute to the chat and everybody here. Thank y'all for rocking with me today. This is the first inaugural Trigger Mike Show. I apologize for the delay. I had some camera saturation issues. I am new to this whole YouTube thing, but thank y'all for understanding. Will not be a regular thing. I promise. I promise. I was here on time. JR was trying to get me right so I wouldn't look so crazy in the back. My office area is in the front of my house with this huge window up top that floods all this light in. As y'all usually know, you can see me. I'm usually a night owl with this. You'll catch me on all the programs during nighttime. So I never thought I'd have that issue, right? So thanks again, man. And this is my first show on the Lapeef Network. Thank y'all for rocking with me and coming through, showing support. I really appreciate y'all. This is a dope topic we have for you today, so let's get into it. All right. The question, as stated, that you saw on the marquee, is hope like dope to women? So let me preface that for you about what I mean by that. I was on my Instagram. I do shorts and things of that nature. At a different point in time, check me out there if you'd like. But I've been recently getting a lot of smoke. And when you bring up the topics that I bring up, you're going to get smoke from a lot of ladies. But one of the questions, even people close to me are asking, right, now that I've started to turn up the heat with my posting is, why don't you have the same amount of accountability for men that you do for women and holding women accountable and all of that? So that's where this topic really stemmed from. And I'll go deeper into it later in the broadcast, but I'm going to kind of touch on the surface for now. And of course, my answer immediately is I don't have any smoke for women, right? No disdain, no hate for women. In fact, I believe the people who talk like I do have more love, that we're willing to tell the truth and be completely hated for our opinion, as long as we believe we're doing what needs to be done in the community in general. All right. And I started to think, like, I put up something that said, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep, and lions also don't concern themselves with the actions of sheep. And what I meant by that was, a lot of ladies got to stop coming to men like me, my brothers, my, upstanding men that are trying to do the right thing in society, right? You can't really come to us and ask us to always change the actions of the sheep in society. I spent my entire life, and men like me that are just trying to do good things, we spent our entire life trying to get here. And I'm telling you, all we owe those men is a good example. All right. And the question then becomes, why do women waste their time choosing those type of men? What is so attractive about those type of dudes to y'all? Right? Because I'm not going to change them. I'm not going to change them. I can't. I'm too busy doing what I'm supposed to be doing in the first place. Right? Tending to my wife, tending to my kids and our family, and building our community as a whole. That's what I'm focused on. Only so many hours in a day. The provision and sustenance to that alone takes most of my effort to uphold. You see what I'm saying? So I really started to think, all right, what is it? Why do women, and this actually wouldn't be a problem. This wouldn't be a problem at all if there were a certain type of woman messing with these dudes. The F boys. I'm talking about the F boys, the corner dudes, the dope dealers, all these kind of guys. How on earth do they get to mess with women that are lawyers, that went to college? How did they find their way into the bedroom and the lives of college educated women? Right? How did that happen? And that's where this kind of topic stemmed from. What happened to women to where they stopped moving toward the direction of the upstanding men in society and started opening themselves up to the bad behaviors of these men, or the sheep of society, as I called it in my short? So that's a bit of the surface, argument, and we're going to go deeper into it here. So let's talk about modern women in general, right? So the modern society, women have begun to act outside of their nature. Why? I mean, there's several reasons for that, right? We know women in the West, in America especially, are excelling at work. Y'all are doing great at work. More college degrees. Y'all are getting placed in corporate jobs. Y'all are getting considered for as C-suite executives, all of that. And I don't believe a man like me, nor any real man, or I don't like that term real man, but any man of value actually has a problem with that. In fact, the statistics say we don't have a problem with it. I just recently found out on I think on the Chic Critique, they shared a stat with me that said men actually prefer women that are C-suite executives. They're the most searched in several dating, upscale dating sites and all of that. So men actually like that. We want to know how you got there. It's like a fist bump type of thing, like respect. Damn, you got all of this. So we actually like to see that. So that's not really an issue. We want to see women achieving and excelling at their goals, at their aspirations. But the issue becomes if you start failing in relationships, that's not something we signed up for. Okay. And we want to know why women, why women are failing in relationships is the men that they're choosing, the decisions they are choosing to make. All right. So let's start with how we got here. Our Western women are gluttons for attention. And I know when you see the term hope is like dope to women. A lot of you immediately on the face of it are going to say, nah, attention is like dope to women. And that's also true. Attention is like dope to women. But allow me to make the case for you. I will go up against any of y'all any day of the week and say hope is a more destructive drug to women than attention is. And let me make the case. JR is going to drop the link in the chat. If you primed and ready to come back up here and debate this with me, please get ready to come up. Make sure you cam up and I'll bring you up here to discuss this with me. But like I said, hope is a more destructive drug to women than attention could ever be. And let me explain that. Hope is like an aphrodisiac. I'm sorry. Attention is like an aphrodisiac. All right. That's what we see right now in the social media age. We have women that have illustrious careers, endless and infinite career opportunity out here busting it wide open for the gram. It doesn't make any sense, right? It does not make any sense to which a lot of women are behaving in a certain way to where we thought like maybe we wouldn't see this from a woman who's a lawyer, a clinical psychologist. We thought we wouldn't see this behavior, but more and more women of a higher caliber, of higher value, are starting to exhibit behaviors as if, they weren't of lower value women. If I just had to put it plainly, right? So attention is an aphrodisiac. It's drawing all of these women in, and we know that they still want to be considered high value women. They want to be women of value that men prefer for marriage. And they want that stamp put on them so it can validate them as a woman at some point in their life. We know that. So that's why I say attention is an aphrodisiac. It is not the whole drug. And it is not as destructive of a drug as hope can be. All right. So attention is the aphrodisiac, drawing women into this entire culture of just hedonism and showing your body parts, showing your booty before you show somebody your credentials or your resume, right? So I'm telling you right now that hope is the destructive drug. And let me make it clear why I say that. Ladies, when you ask me to talk to men about their destructive behavior in the community and why they are failing at dating and relationships, I don't want to take that approach. Never in history, I do not believe ever in history, have they been able to correct the behaviors of men. You can't do it because you're going to cause conflict, right? So a lot of us, we either grew up in or near the hood, in or around or near the hood. And if you haven't grown up there, you watched a lot of drug crime dramas. You watch Power, you watch The Wire, you watch all of these different shows. The Corner, you watch all of these shows, and I wanna ask y'all a question directly to the chat. So just so women can understand why I won't talk to these men. How do you stop if men are like, let's say, dope dealers? I don't call them dope dealers, I call them hope dealers. These men that are not that are low value, that are not a good partner for a woman. They are out here slinging hope to women. They are slinging false hope like a dealer slings packets of drugs. All right. How do you stop a kingpin or a dope dealer from dealing? That's a question to the chat. How do you stop that? Anyone? Miss Jill, I see you in there. I'm about to bring it around. Don't worry. I'm about to bring it around. How do you stop a dealer from dealing? All right, I'll let you know. You cut off his supply. Ladies, that's what I'm trying to do to you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I can't talk to these men because they're winning. F boys are winning. These dope dealers are winning. They get to mess with the best upstanding women of society. All right? You can't tell them anything. You can't reason with them. That's like telling somebody in a casino who's up and their number keeps getting hit to stop gambling. You see what I'm saying? That's what you're telling men like me to do. That Aiden, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aiden. Aiden said it in the chat. You cut off their supply. These men are dealing false hope. So you cut off their supply or you get their buyers to stop buying from them. And that's what men like me are trying to do with our approach to talking to women. Stop talking to the men. We can't change. As a man, I'm telling you, I know that we can't change them. That is the answer on the surface. Well, we just need to go out here and we need to talk to these brothers and get them right. No, we don't. We can't do that. It's never worked in history. If you want to get a man's attention, you cut off his ability to do something. You cut off his access to whatever it is that's feeding that bad behavior. And right now, that is women enabling these men with their behavior. I'm trying to cut off the supply to bad men. You no longer get to be with this woman. You don't get around this woman unless you start behaving like me. That's what we're trying to have happen. I'm telling you right now, if women started a mutiny today and said, we are only having intercourse with, we are only going on dates with, we are only giving our time and talking on the phone with men that have a job, that men that if he does have kids, he's taking care of them and has an amicable relationship with the mother. All of that. If they started saying we're only messing with the upstanding men of society, what would every man want to be? An upstanding man. Ladies. And you have to, men can only do what you allow them to do. I'm trying to tell you, require something from them first. That's why I'm out here talking to ladies. I'm trying to cut off the supply of these hope dealers. Their supply is you. Stop supplying them your time, your attention, letting them rent your womb and letting them use your body to masturbate. Stop letting them do that. I cannot talk to a man that is winning the game of life. Why should I tell him to stop gambling when he has a fix on the machine and he's still winning over and over and over? That's telling somebody who has the cheat code to gambling to stop playing, to stop winning money. You can't do it. You can't do it, ladies. So I'm taking that same strategy and say, if I can't do that, I'm cutting off the supply to these men. Talk to these women. Talk to these women and get them to stop entertaining, stop messing with these men, and we will start to fix the community that way. All right. So that is my whole way of going about it. And I also want to make a note to what I think Jill said there. This is not absolving men of accountability at all. You actually can't absolve men of accountability. Accountability is built into the system for men. Every jail that was ever built, even if it says women's jail, eventually, if not enough women go there, they're going to turn it into a men's jail. All right. Every law, damn near every law that was written, even some laws that were written for women, have notes in there about men and what a man can do to a woman. The system is built to hold men accountable. Men cannot escape accountability. Moreover, men are like soldiers. All right, that's the way I look at it. If I want the men that I'm talking about, these hope dealers, to comply with what I'm saying, I got to give them a reason to listen. Most men just want to serve. We have a propensity to want to protect, serve, and be of, service to the community or whatever in any way possible. The only way you get men that don't do that is when we don't require it and it's not necessary. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we get women to start requiring things from men, more men will want to get married. It's plain and simple. If you require a man to at least commit to you before getting in his bed, more women will have commitment. The answer is simple. We're the ones making it hard, y'all. We are the ones making it hard. And I promise you, I'm not trying to absolve accountability from men, because accountability for men is built into the system. Child support, the government's going to go look for him if he doesn't pay. It tells him he can't be in the house. This whole system is built to hold men accountable. All right. So please, y'all, come up, jump, and chat on this topic with me. I'd love to hear more about what you got to say about it. You got to focus on the dealer, not the addicts. V Fleming, I hear you. I hear you. That is what I am saying. Essentially, I am focused on it. I am focusing on the dealer. All right. I promise you, I'm focusing on the dealer by taking away their supply of addict. That's one way to go about it. All right. Bring up my man. What's up, Dusto?
What's going on?
All right. Happy Monday to you, bro. What's going on with you?
All is well in the Dusty sphere. We got Wigs flapping. We got Dusty's crusting, just as normal.
Turn up your mic. I can't hear you, or get closer.
Oh, cool. Gotcha. I agree with some of what you're saying, but we have to be realistic. Here's the deal. And I say this repeatedly. It's actually my opening statement in the Dusty sphere. We ask these women to go and stop handing over vagina on silver platters, go to the gym, burn the wigs, and do all these things. They said no. We asked the men, because they complain about, these modern women's, to cancel their subscriptions to modernwomen.com, wigs.net, and bonnets.org. They said no. They're going to keep flying up and down the interstate, then subscribe to the worst content creators that they can come up with, do anything and everything that they say, and, they don't want marriage. No, marriage is going to get me. The boogeyman's coming. Okay, so if you don't want marriage as a man or as a woman, the best people want to be married or are married. That means you have to deal with what's left over. Johnny Dustin Crust, Raw Dog Ronnie, Used Me Tony, Wigasaur, Wiganisha Jenkins, Bonatasia Smith, and the three Ratcheteers. Let's be real. Simply put, people do what they want to do. So just join the trolls and troll them and get it over with. They said no. They're going to do what they want to do.
All right. I hear what you're saying, Dusto. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So I think there definitely is an age. There's an age to be assigned to the women that you're talking about, and for those women, you're absolutely right. I don't believe that we're overrepresenting them either. I believe that there are more women out here that are subscribing to the dust, like you said, just basically saying we won't, we can't. Also, because it's incentivized. That behavior is incentivized for them. The issue is that I believe when women do that, they're not necessarily acting within their nature, right? So that's the thing. I think what's basically going to happen is by 2030, half of all the women in the US will be single. All right. And the women that are our age are going to be in their 40s, right? So the millennials are going to be in the 40s, and some of the earliest millennials close to 50 years of age. That is where they are no longer thinking like the 30 somethings and the 20 somethings. Their knees hurt, their back hurt. They're going to need the wig now because their hair is probably, falling out. They're not as attractive and can no longer compete with any of those age groups anymore. And then they're going to realize, oh, snap, I did not take companionship seriously. I don't have a man. I have not saved enough for retirement. I don't feel like working anymore, and all of that. And then we're going to start to see their nature come out and start looking at companionship like this was a survival tactic. It wasn't even something that I had a choice about, right? So that's what I feel like they made their choice, but eventually the nature of them is going to come out and they're going to realize it. Some women do realize it early, right? And make the strides and choices to make the right decision to pair up with a man because they realize earlier that this is a part of my survival, right? But then you have the ones that, are up here combating and acting like they don't need a man. I do believe that is most modern women, especially those of, in the Black ethnic group, unfortunately. But what do you think? All right, if we had to come up with a solution right now, do you think anything can change it or is it too far gone?
It's pretty much done. Solution individually is if you're a man, stop going to the Nation of Wigwam looking for women. There's nothing over there for you. The Nation of Wigwam is reproducing this, and it's reproducing the men too. Because a lot of the men are fighting with the women for victimhood. That's pretty weak. Man, hold the women accountable. Okay, so are the women the leaders now? All right, cool. We'll hold them all accountable and go yell and beat and harass the women because now they're the leaders, correct? No, we the leaders. Okay, then who's making the decisions to create these kids in the street? Meaning, so I'm losing what I'm saying. Pretty much, people do what they were taught to do. And then there's some kind of variance in there where people are individuals and can rebel or can be individuals and excel. But for the most part, people look, talk, smell the way they do because of what they're around and the environment that they're putting in. The environments are getting worse and worse and worse by the day. In a few years, there will be some super people over here, and there's going to be a big pile and stack of victims laying in the gutter somewhere with nothing. I'm talking health, I'm talking faith, I'm talking finance, I'm talking fitness, I'm talking education, common sense, positive, just energy in general. Are you positive or negative? What's going into your brain? Just what it's become. The government has two sides. There's a side where there's an opportunity to go out there and become a superhuman. Those options are available. Then they have a victim side. Most people sign up for the victim side and become dependents. You'd be a victim of your health. Most people, they just fat, sloppy fat. Then there's the medication. They're zombies and dependents on medication. You don't know what's going into them. Their bodies, their minds. They ain't eating right, ain't sleeping right, ain't talking right. So all the negative, just marinating in negativity, beating up on others. Men yelling at the women, women yelling at the men, men yelling at other men, women yelling at other women. Everybody's hating each other. That can't be fixed. You just got to get out of there and let them be. Or go in there, troll them for a little bit, and then get up out of there. You're muted, Sugar Mike.
I can't really argue with that, right? So let me ask you a question, and let me preface it before the question on the broadcast today is hope like dope to women? And what I mean by that is, you see, I made a reference to the fact that women are messing with a lot of low value men.
Mhm.
And I believe even though attention and shaking their behind on the gram is what gets them a lot of DMs, what happens after they get the man? Like, attention is no longer a factor there once you have the man. So then you have to realize, like, after she sees this guy doesn't take care of the kids he already has, he's sleeping in your house and maybe he doesn't pay rent, and we would think women were smarter than this, than you know what I mean, to continue to mess with men like that of low value. But then I start to say, if attention is not the drug, it's a drug that brought them, but not the drug that keeps them. Isn't hope the drug? They're too hopeful that they can change him into the man they want him to be. So what do you think about that?
I don't think hope is what the men are selling to the women. Some maybe, but because I remember a friend of mine told me this when I was in my 20s, and I was just like, certain environments, there's ladies I'm gonna get that aren't gonna talk to you, because it was pretty sleazy. And he was like, "Yeah, you say that, but at the end of the day, I can get more of your type of ladies than you think." It's like, how you figure? What he told me was, I can get some of your ladies because I can pretend to be you long enough to get what it is that I want. I wanted to choke him. The problem was he was telling the truth. There are some comedians and dudes telling women what they want to hear and selling dreams. There are some of those dudes. But a lot of them are who they are and just being what they are. And the women just are choosing. That's what they're just going to do. There's so many different factors. For example, so it's not like it's just one thing. They're doing this and the women are doing that. Women think the way they think, and they think based on how they feel. And they think emotionally first and then try to back it with logic. When there's no father in the household, there's no structure or nothing to them to be themselves, as well as see and experience a good understanding of what relationships are. Then they have to go off of what they know and who they are. And a lot of them are out of control. A lot of them were born into situations or their environment is also out of control to the point where they don't know what control even is. Unfortunately. And the same thing with the dudes. Dudes don't know about no relationship, marriage, all that kind of stuff, or what's supposed to be done, how things should be in female nature. Men talk to women like they're men. You hear them talking about get out your feelings. What you want, a masculine woman with no feelings? Is that what you want? Really? Yes, she want her feelings. If not, give her my phone number. You take the masculine ones. Men talking to women like men, women talking to dudes and wanting them to be women. I mean, I don't know, it's just out of control. But it's not just they're selling hope. Like there's these dudes and they put a suit on and look like they're high value, whatever. And they're lying and telling women it's so much other stuff that's going on that it's just, I don't know.
Gotcha. Definitely. I appreciate the input. Mr. O'Shea, how you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing, Trigger Mike?
I'm doing well.
I'm still here.
Stuff. Look, here's the only reason I come up here, because it took me a while to think about this. And I thought when you say, look, if women stop sleeping with the, I don't want to say lower class dude, but dudes that don't hold up their promises, don't take care of their responsibilities. Now that sounds good on paper, and there is a place for that. But here's the deal: do you not know how much power you giving women? Do you know how much power you give men? You're saying men. No. Do you know how weak that saying men are over women? When here's the thing. Here's the deal. Now, unfortunately, is men gonna have to stop this in order to keep that that power thing there by simply, well, it's not simply. Look, if productive men, were ostracized in every area of life, those types of guys, then guess what? Here's the deal. Yeah, if those women still choose to deal with them guys, then guess what? They get out there in the cold with them. You understand what I'm saying? That way you keep the power with men, because men, we tend to think, because we tend to be more logical. I'm not saying we're all the way logical, because we do have a lot of emotions in there too.
Yep.
We just somewhat, in most cases, we choose we choose to do that which we know is the thing to do to be productive.
Gotcha.
In spite of the feelings. But to sit there and tell women, if you quit sleeping with these guys, which I had that thought process, it's admitting men are weak. And it's admitting women have the power. And isn't that one of the biggest arguments in this in the manosphere, Negro manosphere? Manosphere here. Women got too much power, too many laws in the favor of women. Isn't that one of the biggest arguments?
Well, what I'll say is that Yeah, in a way, I believe you're right. But what I'm essentially saying is the weakness that you say men have always had that weakness. Um, I used to say no man has ever practiced discipline, but rarely. I'll change it up to say rarely in history have men ever practiced discipline. So I want to preface it like this. Remember, we're still talking that it's not all men. First of all, we always talk about the 50% getting divorced. What about the 50% that aren't? Right? Those men are doing whatever they're doing. They don't get their time to shine. They don't get their time in the sun. They're not celebrated, right? So I'm talking about the men who are either never getting married or the men who were never suitable for that institution in this first place. Let me tell you why I believe discipline is never existing and why men have always been weak when it comes to a woman's basically vagina. When it comes to that, you can't control men anymore. That's biologically what we want to get from the woman ultimately. The reason why I said discipline doesn't exist is because there used to be a man standing in your way of a woman. When you approach her, it's not like you wanted marriage. Dusto, weren't sitting in the sandbox one day saying, I can't wait to be a husband. We weren't doing that. The woman is the prize. And in order to win that prize, I had to go through a daddy, an uncle, her brother, all of this in order to win that prize. Now there's no longer anything in my way. So men easily succumb to the weakness of the vagina because it's available, it's open, it's accessible. So what I'm saying essentially is cut off the access and then you can structure the man.
I got pushback.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know people are going to have pushback with that. But I guess like the sex is the prize. That's what men go after. Men actually get married to have consistent sex. That is what traditionally has been true. From that sex, you get children, and then you feel a sense of duty to take care of them with that woman. All right. So that's the way I really look at it. That I know what you're saying, that we're giving women too much power, but that's the only power. That's the power they've always had. That between their legs has been their most powerful tool this whole time. So the men, you already know men are naturally going to fall and are weak for that. It's the access that used to be restricted to it. You see what I'm saying? When fathers were in the home, they limited access. Now take them out of the home, access is abundant, and you see men not stepping up to do their responsibility. Go ahead, fellas.
I got pushback. Going to the women and saying, hey, withhold the almighty vagina and these brothers is going to step. No. If you're a 400-pound Wigosaur and not giving any booty, you're still a 400-pound Wigosaurus at the end of the day. You're still not a wife. Improve the product. And the product ain't even the vagina. That's like, every woman got one. If there were more wives out, men would step up to get those wives. If they saw a benefit in those women, they would step up to get those women. Or they not. They just stay behind and get ragdolled in the system. The other thing is the power thing. I'm still in the belief that there's men here, women here, children here. All my friends who are successfully married, family, parents, brothers, sisters, a lot of those who are successful married, uncles, people I look up to as far as the marriage thing. That's how the structure is.
Yep. I agree.
It's not government, then woman, then man, and no. How did the government get in your household to begin with? Probably she don't like you. So I look at the whole system thing, just a sorting process. She didn't like you anyway. So if you got to drive 30 minutes, excuse me, Governor Smith, she won't act right. You didn't have that woman to begin with. The reason she ran to the government, she didn't want to be with you. Women who want their men and want to be there don't call the government. I never came home and my mom was on the phone with the government, the system, and the never. My sister ain't never called the man. They decided we want to be with our men, we're going to run our families. The ones who don't, it doesn't matter what they do. If somebody don't want to be there, they're not going to be there. Woman or man. Well, actually, no, men will stay there and just be zombies. They'll just be cheating Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So somewhat be there, but not be there. But the whole power thing, if you want to hand your power over to the government or to the woman or to whoever, go for it.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right, just real quick, we got to get these likes up, y'all. I see 192 people right now in the chat. Go ahead and get these likes up. Press that like button. Please support the show if you like what you hear. We got some heat for y'all coming up. Definitely thank you to these two brothers. We're going to keep going for y'all, but get those likes up right now. Mr. O'Shea, what say you about the topic, sir?
I'm still here.
Well, when Desto said women go to the government because of the guys that they don't like. Now, look, I don't know the mind of a woman like that, but I'm just hypothesize and say that sometimes they go to the government to punish the dude that they don't like because they can't get him to do what they want.
Sir, with that statement, though, you've made my point today. Hope they can't get him to do what they want. And the whole reason they even decided to get in that messy institution of trying to mold a man to begin with is because they were too hopeful. Their judgment is impaired, right? They a lot of women lacked the guidance. In fact, let's take out women vetting. Women should not be vetting their own men to begin with. They should just basically know that they have the ability to like someone, and they send the men in their life to, like, look, you need to come around this family ASAP because I do like you. I see you out here shining. But they have the ultimate say on to whether you're an upstanding man that's going to take care of your duty. And the only reason they go to the government on a dude they don't like is because they tried to change him. They were too hopeful. And now, because they tried to vet, and that's not technically what women do. They actually biologically they have a weakness for men too. That's the worst part about it. They have a weakness for men. And then they end up not making good decisions in that sense. So, yeah, but hope is like dope to women. It impairs their judgment. It makes them make poor decisions. So that's why they go to the government on these dudes.
I'll buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1.
If they go to the government, isn't that cheating? I mean, the relationship's already damaged.
I mean, it's definitely not. It's not advisable. It's not. I think it's like the end of the relationship. You put the government between you and your relationship. I mean, man, I don't even understand does the government even know the damage that they've caused? Is anyone paying attention? Because those of us that have worked for the government before should know that it's not one entity doing anything. It's a bunch of people doing a bunch of different things, and nobody ever really comes to create a task force or a committee until catastrophic damage has been done. And then they have to, what is it called? They got to backtrack and be like, oh, damn, did we do this? Create another committee or create another entitlement or something else to patch it up. They won't ever admit fault. The government is not going to come say sorry for breaking up black households. They're just going to give another type of law. Excuse me.
It's not a black issue either, though.
No, it's not. It's not. But I just mean that we obviously suffered from it the worst. I mean, the proof of that, 80% or more prior to 1960, black families were the highest married people in the United States. To the introduction of the Great Society, then now 70% of black children born are born to a single mother. That's a catastrophic imbalance, if you ask me. So definitely suffered from it the worst. I don't know where that came from, though.
Let me interject something in there. Now, look, at the particular time with Martin Luther King and a whole lot of other civil rights act leaders, that thought integration was the best answer. Now, I can respect the fact that they thought that, but now looking down, and even some back then knew that was not the best answer.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently it got overwritten. But here's the deal: when you have an enemy that letting you know that they're your enemy, it causes you to have to think differently. It causes you have to depend on one another and not depend on your enemy. And look, and I'm not saying no, I'm gonna leave it just right there and just say, because see, before that integration thing, it forced us to, as a people, to depend on one another.
Yep.
And if that integration had not happened the way it is, because what ended up happening is they thought because you put the black kids with the white kids in some of the white schools, you get a better education. Starting out, that's probably what happened. But over time, they just put the dumb white children, low undereducated white children with the black children, and degraded the school system. That's the only thing that happened. That's the only thing that happened. That's the only thing they done.
I'm 50-50 on that, because here's the deal. We can't compare times of survival versus times of opportunity. They're two different times. We don't know what would happen if integration never happened. Because they always talk about, oh, they bombed us in Tulsa. Oh, they did that. We don't know what would have happened and what could have, should have, would have did. We only see one side. Other thing is, it's 2023. That didn't happen. We integrated. Now people have the opportunity to access to the best, or to be a victim and be the worst. It just is what it is.
Gotcha. All right. How you doing, sir?
People don't want to go back and try to segregate now. They don't.
What's going on? Let me get to these super chats real quick. Trigger Mike, fire. Get the likes up. Share the stream while it's live. Thanks, family. I appreciate that, Kelly. Thank you for showing love. Of course, and always. Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Great to see you headlining. It is great to be headlining, sir. And thank you for coming. All right. Y'all know I'm new to this whole thing, so y'all got to give me a second on how to read these or pull them up. What up to the brothers on the panel? Keep up the good work, Trigger Mike. Respect, man. Marcus Evans for $5. Thank you so much, sir. Clement Gray. God created the institution of marriage. Satan tricked Eve to subdue Adam to destroy marriage. You want change in marriages, you must return the creator to the institution, which is God.
Amen.
Until then, trash bomb. Hey, real words spoken right there. I mean, look, not even to make this into a full biblical thing, because we go down that road a lot. But let's just talk timeline, right? Not even just as God left the institution of marriage, as men left the church, the institution of marriage started to suffer. It's the most easy. It's so easy to see the chronological order in which that happened. The worst part about it is that for men, maybe that's the worst thing that can happen. But I believe it's the worst thing that can happen to women. Because if women are getting married without being grounded in any kind of spirituality or religion, you are asking for that. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, what I've noticed about women, no matter how mature, no matter how dedicated they are to the marriage or committed, they are extremely impressionable. You can see, like, when you just look at the likes, go to any of these coaches or people that just love to talk down on the institution of marriage and play up female independence. Women easily catch that wave and run with it all the way to divorce. If you were grounded in religion, on the face of that thing being said, you're supposed to dismiss it. If you know that it conflicts with your Christian beliefs, your Muslim beliefs, I see women do that all the time that are deeply religious. They don't even want to hear it. As a matter of fact, they'll kick that person out. Unfollow. Not for my brain. Don't infect me. So men leaving the church and women not being grounded in any religion or spiritual beliefs as it pertains to marriage, potentially ruin that institution. So Clement Gray, you started something there, bro. I agree. What say y'all on that topic? We'll get to Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Welcome. And welcome, Mr. Walker.
How you doing?
How are you?
Welcome, fellas. Thanks for having me, Trigger Mike. Much love, brother.
Indeed, man. Thanks for
coming. So you want me to just chime in a little bit on your topic?
Yes, sir. Anything you heard on the topic? Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just from the beginning, I saw when you came on, one of the things about the premise of A Hope is Dope, are women actually acting outside of their nature by doing what they're doing now. You know, so you have to ask them that, because if we want them to change, we'd have to prove that they're not really doing what they are intended to do, right? They're hypergamous. The modern woman looks at man through kind of like the eyes of a man. They look at a man's handsomeness, how tall he is, his if he has money, if he has game. And this doesn't matter whether he's a so-called Pookie or Ray Ray with some charm, or the high value man, right? So women kind of gravitate towards guys that they're attracted to, right? You know, just look at Martha Stewart. I mean, she was a billionaire. She almost gave it all up for this dude at Herbatox. This is years ago. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how much money the woman has and all this kind of stuff. Men have always been able to charm women out of whatever they want, because they just play on women's natural needs for the hypergamous man. So in the predicament we're in today with Instagram and social media, these women, and even not lower value, but women down on the Richter scale, like 3s and 4s, have access to guys they would never have access to before. You know, so how do you combat that to try to change from their side of the house? Because men being men, we haven't changed a bit, right? I mean, we're, you know, the biggest thing a woman ever told me when I was 19, thank God I got this lesson, was that if you give up your manhood for a woman's box, you've lost the game.
Yep.
Men have changed.
How much have we changed? Okay, let me go ahead. Let me
hold on. Let me respond to the first part of what you said. Then we'll get to Mr. Walker, and then I'll let you rebut.
Okay.
Dusto. So you are right in the sense that women are hypergamous. We know that, but that also plays into the title perfectly. They're hypergamous. Like, women are extremely selfish and hypergamous to ensure their survival. They're actually interfacing and choosing men who are the worst to secure their survival. So they're using their hypergamy to attach, like to choose false prophets and choose people who cannot actually ensure their survival. That's where that hope is dope narrative comes from. If they were truly acting in their hypergamous nature. So let me just say it like this. When you ask a woman what she wants, what does she say? High value man, 6 figures. Ask that woman to show you her baby daddy.
Right.
The man she let get her pregnant. She wasn't using that part of her brain at that time. So, you know, they are, yes, moving to what they are attracted to, but these men, again, are selling false hope. How do you work at, how do you work part-time, or you don't work at all, but you just leasing a Corvette C8 because you scamming? You look the part. You look like you got some money, right? You always calling her, I just need to borrow some money for a few days, blah, blah, blah. You know that's not how men of value move. Damn sure ain't borrowing money from no woman, especially when they just met.
Right.
Right. But they're not really intuitive. They're not thinking. They're not using their intuition that they say they have to say, this isn't right. A man of value wouldn't move, wouldn't behave like this. They're just giving into the consumerism culture and the dope boy culture of this looks great. Right.
So let me just add this though, Trigger Mike. What you're saying is true. I don't argue with that. But the value of a man is the second thing they have to find out. The first thing they're looking at is what the man looks like. Right. So women are giving up the sex more because of whatever reason these days, you know, the pill and the fact that they're just having a lot more sex. Yeah. So to get to the value part, to really discern how valuable the man is, that's the second step. They're giving up the box on the first step. You know what I'm saying? And they in hopes that this guy has some value later. Now, sometimes it's clear a guy doesn't have value, so I'll give you that. But even some guys dress up well, you know, and they take advantage of women's need. And we have to face it. Women like sex as much as men do. And we give them a lot of more credit than they deserve. I mean, men have always been able to charm the panties off of women.
Yep.
Right. And we just, we just do. And even though women still control it, sometimes they're out of control too. Like you're saying, the hope is dope, and we could put things around it. But they're slaves to their own nature as well, just like I think men are.
Well, you know what it is, really, truly. There's no there's no problem that we suffer from as a society that's related to women and what they think their value is that can't be attributed back to fatherlessness. Or
I can see that.
So
I agree.
Fathers teach these girls their value, right? So the craziest thing is that women are given all their value up front. Because that's a perfect way that you put it, because the attractiveness part comes first. The total value of a man is his actual value to produce, to be productive, to care for you the way he is intended to, right?
Right.
So the women don't know their own value, and they're giving all of their value to these men up front. And the point I wanted to make is that the thing we got to realize is that men have, this is why I said there's no discipline. Men throughout history have always tried to score. Women just got to be better goalies. They used to be excellent goalies.
They used to be excellent goalies. I'm old enough to know that.
Defense in no. This is the Ronaldo. This is the Messi of scoring. Hold on. He's gonna score if they get him over here. Defenders.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Block them. That women used to be great at that, knowing that they were susceptible to a man trying to score. Like, he looked like my type. Don't come over here, and you can't come over. Because things are gonna happen. You remember back in college, girls used to tell, I asked for a kiss. A girl would be like, I know what kissing leads to. You remember that?
Yeah,
they used to be better goalies. They wouldn't even kiss you because they know they're gonna end up on their back, right? So they're not that good at that anymore, because naturally, I believe it starts with the father not being in the home. But we're gonna get back to that. Mr. Walker, how you doing, man?
Yes, good. Thank you. Much love. I agree with you, brother. Fathers not being present has multiple terrible effects. Number one, I believe, which we talk about on my channel, is they put these families in low social economic statuses. So now Nug and the local D-boy, he got easy pickings on these post sisters they ain't even got AC in the house. They ain't eating. So now you got Nug that's slinging a couple dime bags. It's easy pickings on these post sisters in the hood, and I think that's a big issue. Men, I believe that the majority of accountability falls on the men. Yes, these women definitely have to be more responsible with their most precious commodity, which is, their womb. But, it definitely starts with the men. But the women playing better goalies, me, I've been happily married for 10 years. And the thing that got me to marry my wife, and I always say it, she denied me. She was not just like, okay, come on. No, she said, no, it ain't happening like that. And I agree 100%, Brother Trigger.
Exactly. I mean, the funny part about it is it naturally makes you treat them like a woman of value. If I can think of the women that I ever even considered, just think of it. Did it cross my mind that I would ever be married to this girl? It were the women that had self-respect.
Yes, sir.
The women that valued themselves. I mean, it's almost like a trick being played when they ask for respect from a man whom they gave up all their self-respect for. It's oxymoronic, is it not? Like, how do you expect me to respect you more than you respect yourself?
There you go. And I can't remember who said it, but look at these sisters, baby daddies, as far as their hypergamy and what they start to demand later on down the line after they have given a nug and their absolute best. And we really got to drive that point home for these sisters to educate them. Like, look, please preserve your most precious commodity, because that man that you want to throw that hypergamy on, he's going to demand. Most likely, he's going to demand exclusive access to your womb. He will not be too willing to take on the child of another man. Most likely, with the level of warped hypergamy that today's modern women has.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Fellas, y'all want to get in on this?
Let me say something about the Christianity, the godly part of it. Yeah, it is. Nowadays, especially where Christianity, man, women for the most part, and you got a lot of guys out there too, that's just using some to be the like putting on an application. I belong to this club, the Boys of America. So it means really that it doesn't really mean that much until you get to talking about. Because if you want to prove it, let somebody call themselves, let's say, a Christian, or anything like that, and start mentioning things that you should not be doing, and see how quick they snap back on you. See how quick. So a lot of times, this whole thing about, well, I go to church. Okay, yeah, you go to church, but and this is not just for women. So this is people in general who claim to say they are such. Man, look, because I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna put this out here. I've been on several dating websites back in the past. Uh, Let me tell you what. Do you know how many women that were bisexual had Christian on there?
I don't see the point.
I know you don't. But anyway, but the point of it is, look, when you start dealing with the grassroots of what the word says, and then you start seeing a whole bunch of people sitting up there saying, claiming to be this, it means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. So look, I wouldn't take that stuff as face value. When you start testing testing it against what it really is, you quickly understand that, hey, now I back up from that person. That person not being genuinely who they say they are. And it was something else, another point, but I'm gonna rest that right now.
I know a lot of times, like we were talking about, how these guys can easily, woo the underwear off these ladies. A lot of times, I believe that how women say men think with they small head, it's getting to the point where a lot of these sisters are thinking with they little man in the boat, and they're not really even trying to see if a man has good character, whether he's a good person. I asked my wife, I said, what made you choose my goofy self? Because I was rough around the edges, met her in college, coming from the hood. And, she said it was because you had a plan, you had a goal. She asked that wife mentality is something that's really unmistakable. And I do believe for the women that it should be fairly easy with the help of a man vetting, should be easy to pick a suitable mate.
Okay. I got a question for you fellas, because we definitely, manosphere space and everything, we definitely can go in and expose the problems very well. We can articulate the problems. So as far as the men is concerned, because when people hear me talk on this topic, they're like, well, you give no accountability to the men. And my ultimate belief on that is men cannot escape accountability at all. But if it was, let's look at the men only, the women follow. We know that if all men were upstanding men and focused on their purpose and just moving in one direction, you don't even got to look behind you to see if the women are following. They're following. What would have to be done to get enough men in order to start the movement toward more marriage, going back to the nuclear family, more marriages happening, more men taking care of their women and their kids, so on and so forth? What would need to happen to the men? What would we need to do specifically for them?
Let me chime in first, if I may. Okay, on that one. I mean, there's a few things I think we could do. I think the forum, we call it the manosphere. There's some good elements and some bad elements to it. But more and more guys are coming to the manosphere talking like you, Trigger Mike. There's another brother talking about marriage. I talk about marriage and relationships. So we got to change the narrative on what we want. We got to stop saying we're afraid of being married as men. There's a lot of that going around. And there's ways we can combat the system, and a prenup is one of them. So some of us need to look at that. So it's not all bad. And depends on what your assets are. You got to be able to say that. The second thing is that if we want quality women, I think men need to stop saying that their achievements don't matter. Because even if it doesn't matter to us to run the family, it matters to them because they accomplished something. So we can't just keep telling women, no matter how successful you are, it doesn't matter, right? Because when you leave it there, they feel like we're belittling the fact that they had to stay up late at night, they had to sacrifice, they had to do all those kind of things to get where they are. So we got to complete the sentence. Yeah, it matters that I'm proud of you that you've accomplished so much, but if we're going to be in a relationship, I'm not going to bank on what you're doing, because when shit hits the fan, good or bad, I have to answer the bell.
So,
and if a marriage falls apart, nobody's looking at you. They're going to look at me. They don't care about your PhD.
Mhm.
So we got to kind of pull back a little bit and see what we're saying to them. For us to say that their achievements don't matter is almost as bad as saying they're independent and they don't need no man. Okay, so we got to change the narrative on how we approach women. And even if they're successful, we got to also, there's a third thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to let everybody else talk. When we get into a marriage and it's quote unquote, they have provisions, they have their own money, they have their own success, and they could take care of themselves, we have to redefine what we look at as traditional. You know what I'm saying? We can't, if they're going out 50 hours a week, and having alpha men chase them around the desk, and we're going out 50 hours a week, we can't come home and just throw out drawers on the ground and just expect them to pay double duty and triple duty. I mean, when there's young kids, like babies and toddlers, yeah, they're going to do them a little bit more. But we got to be willing to say, okay, in this relationship, we got to do the duties in the household as well, a little bit more than we're used to. And for me, it was never that big of a deal, right? Like I said, I've been married for a long time, but I always wash my own clothes, right? My wife didn't wash my clothes, not because I let her not do it. We were just on different time limits. She was going her way, I'm going my way. I measure washing my clothes based on how much drawers I have left, right? She had a different thing. When our kids were old enough to use the washing machine, they washed their own clothes. Right, I like to cook. I mean, I'm losing some weight now. I lost 65 pounds. I'm trying to lose some more. But I cook the Sunday dinners for the family. And I cook a little bit. Matter of fact, when I was younger, before I had got married, I used to cook women food. And that was part of my strategy to get laid.
Gotcha.
So I don't care about me. My wife cooks, but it's not a big prerequisite for me. So I clean my own man cave. I don't ask her to clean it. I clean that. So we got to be, when the kids were young, yeah, she got up because she wasn't working. But every so often I got up and got the bottle and fed the kid. I mean, we got to do those kind of things. And the last thing I said, that was the last one. The last thing is that when you marry a woman, the things that you did to get her to marry you, you can't forget about them. You don't have to give them much, right? You got to fill up women's bank accounts because they do have an account. And, and you being a man, you drain that son of a gun all the time. So you got to fill it back every so often to know that, okay, man, I did this I punched that ticket. Now I can, for 2 weeks, I'm going to burn up all those credits. That kind of stuff. But anyway.
Gotcha. There's a few things. So in the statements that you said, there's a few things that I wanted to comment on. I don't believe men tell women that their contributions don't matter. We don't. The evidence doesn't support that. So I think that's a woman's talking point that they talk about so much that we believe it must be true. What women actually want to happen, they want their contributions to make them more attractive, or better, they want them to make him as attractive as a man. It makes a man. We know that women want a man with resources, and women believe that if they go get education and resources, that we're supposed to be doing dances like, hey, she got a PhD. We don't do that.
No,
so
that's right.
It's infuriating to them. So it makes them come out and say it like he acts like what I do doesn't matter. But most American family homes are two income homes, right? I'm sorry, yeah, like two income homes. Woman has always been contributing in the Black community. The woman has always been contributing. If she was working for the church, she's always been a contributor in the family. So I don't even know where that talking point usually comes from. And the other thing that they want to do, women want to renegotiate gender roles simply because they make money. That is where men are like, stop. Jose, wife, don't try to negotiate no gender roles, right? She asked for help. She knows that she should never kneecap her man and his work situation. So she asked if we can move her mother in. She asked if her aunt could come from Mexico down to help them so she could with the house so she could clean while I work. They make different types of concessions. Modern women think they should ask their man for equal responsibility, which as men we know does not work out well at all. Right? They're not really using their imagination on how to accomplish those things. And I understand why that's frustrating to them, but there are plenty of examples of how that could work better. But fellas, please chime in.
I agree with Brother Payne about the not really holding too tight to gender roles. Same here, brother. I still do my laundry. Was just doing laundry earlier, and and I am a resourceful man. But you gotta you gotta care. It can't be you can't be red pill raging just because you got to a bag. You know what I mean? You gotta show some love and empathy. And like Trigger asked the question, what can we do, as far as getting the men in order as a solution? And personally, the way I live, I definitely think this starts, what I'm saying, with your spiritual grounding. Like you said, people leaving the church, losing that Old Testament conviction that I love, and everything just seems to fall apart. No order, no structure. There is no out of bounds nowadays. But I do believe that if we can get the men, empower the men, because I do believe that a lot of men left the church because there was, lack of distribution of power. It seems like usually one or a couple of people hold the power inside of a church. But yeah, definitely empowering the men and getting back to that spiritual grounding, and submitting to God is, I believe, is the biggest issue.
Indeed.
Yeah, actually, I think the manosphere is selling the dope. They're selling it to the men and the women for super chats and whatever. Here's the deal. People going to do what they want to do. So we can pretend like we're going to go to beat them to death with the Bible. No, you're not. They're going to do what they want to do. We're going to get the men accountable. And no, you're not. No. We're going to get these women. No, you're not. Show me. Let me see somebody get 5 black women in the gym. Let me see somebody get dudes stop yelling at the women, talking crazy. Stop whining about the white man in 1822. Let me see that. The manosphere needs to be surrendered and turned over to the trolls, which they run they run all the spears anyway. It belongs to the trolls. Because we realize the people are going to do what they want to do. They don't listen. Show me a manosphere, show me a panel across any of these platforms where there's a whole bunch of women in 2023, they lost 20 pounds. They're not wearing wigs, they got natural hair. Or they're not yakking, quacking out of control. Show me where the men ain't yelling at the women, talking the same dead talk. Modern women won't submit. I don't want 50-50. I don't care about you, how you feel. Then I got to come in here and troll them all by myself. It just ain't right. I can't go 1-on-6. I can't go 1-on-5. The manosphere, there's a lot of content creators. Yeah, we're going to get these modern women in order. Then he clicks off, and after he got your money, goes home to his wife, telling you, man, the court, don't get married, get a prenup. And he clicks off and goes to his wife or his 18-year relationship girlfriend. There's a lot of dudes to him, man, I hate these women. They ain't nothing. They're simping in the DMs the next week, raw dogging in the street in Minnesota somewhere. But they got your money and they got your attention. The women, oh God, the chameleonism. Nice entertainment. I get it. It's fun. I enjoy it. I come clown and troll, whatever. But the women, yeah, these modern women ain't nothing. But you at 8, 9, or 10, 3 years later, you still ain't got no man. You can pick one off a tree. You're 28. You're 24 years old. She's probably going out and doing the same behavior. Like, let's just be real. It is what it is. Or you can just beat people to death with talking points, and half of them don't even make sense. The top 10% men protect and provide and look. Women don't know how much money you got, and they know if they like you before you even talk about money. Woman I dated, and I'm single, so I can't say here I'm Johnny relationship. The woman who treated me the best, a couple of them I should have married, I didn't. So yeah, we didn't talk about money. They didn't say, "Excuse me, sir, are you on your purpose? Are you a high value man? What is your network?" That wasn't the conversation. The link to man and woman is a connection thing with communication. Then it's backed with the other things and a plan to go forward. But if there ain't no connection, no communication, it don't matter what kind of bag you can walk around with a briefcase, a suit, and be 6'9". She ain't gonna be there. You can rent her, she'll be there for 6 months. But then she's gonna try to beat you into being the man that she really wants, who is her ex-boyfriend Jamal. She's gonna try to force and make you be Jamal. Am I wrong? But let's just be real. It's dust. It's entertaining. It's fun. Some of it's just out of control. And you can also sometimes meet people and have good, productive conversations. But overall, these people gonna do what they want to do. I'm one of them. I'm trolling. I just tell you what it is. I'm gonna come up here and clown people because I can and because it's entertaining. Is that fair?
You are my favorite troll. I will say that. Salute.
Shout out to the Troll Illuminati. We are hiring, looking for qualified trolls.
Hey, Mike, may I go ahead and say this because I'm going to get off.
I'm about to drop. Y'all have a good one.
All right, Dusto. Now right. I'm gonna go in line with what Dusto has said a little bit, and what the guy with the guy with all the stuff in the background with plaques and stuff about coming back to God. Look here it is. Those of us who read the New Testament and believe, especially Revelation. Look, this world is about at the tipping point of Sodom and Gomorrah. Whether you believe it or not, that's inconsequential. When it asks how many people would it take to save it, and that number got so doggone low to the point of saying, no, it's not. Look, I'm gonna just get out those who gonna follow, and the rest is gone. I believe if we're not at that tipping point, we right at the door of it. So things are not gonna get better. Things are just gonna consistently get worse. And if you want to know what make it get better, here it is. There have to be something so worldwide catastrophic to where it basically breaks us all the way back down to where we have to look. Technology is not even an option anymore. We have to go right back to using tools, our hands, and growing stuff, and depending on one another. Outside of that, man, this thing is gone.
So Mr. O'Shea, let me tell you, I'll say this real quick, then we'll get our new panelists in. I'm in 100% agreement with that. Because when I say, like, when people are asking, what's the fix? Where I say, well, it got to get worse before it gets better. People don't change unless they have no choice. Okay? People change unless they have no choice but to change. That is something that's been proven true throughout time. You have to break something down, destroy it in order for the new things to come up. But what's going on, Mr. WTP and Mr. Gavin? How y'all doing?
How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, what's up?
We can rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first, Mr. Gavin.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
You were here first, Mr. WTP. You go first.
Okay. I'm just kind of thinking big picture, and I think I've been hearing this kind of conversations that we've been having in this space. I grew up on a Black college campus. I've been hearing this since the 90s. Mm-hmm. What I really think is an actual solution, because I think if we're really honest, I don't think the majority of us are even born in a marriage situation. Most of us are born in baby mama, hookup situations, like almost 80%. And we're trying to, in this space, I think, force this narrative of how to have a great marriage, when in reality, I don't think our souls are meant for it. And what I mean by that is that we have tried to do this marriage idea for a long time. And honestly, I don't think it's really meant for us. I think what we really need to do for a community is actually figure out a code of conduct once a baby is born. Because what happens is, I don't know who teaches women how to behave in breakups, but that's where the core issues are. And if we can involve both families when the baby is born and be logical adults as the Black community, if we can get Black women to start teaching Black women how to behave when a breakup happens, not all this waiting to excel shit and burning cars, but like, yo, like, it's over. I made this baby out of love, and we're going to co-parent effectively. There's not any positive male black people and female black women. Like, there's no real positive examples of healthy black co-parenting that you can think of. We don't see many examples of it. And yet that's probably the most effective thing we've done for our community. If we start teaching this at an early age, even, we start teaching people in courses, like how to de-escalate. That's the thing that actually probably benefit the community more, instead of trying to keep pushing and pushing and pushing this marriage idea. Because until black women will get married without the U.S. government, I don't think that the majority of black men in general, or men anyway, will want to be married anyway, because we've all seen that the U.S. court system is not even logical, let alone fair. So, since most of us are not born in marriages anyway, in the black community, how do we figure out a way to have sisters talk to other sisters about how to behave correctly after breakups? And then on the other accord, how do we get men, once they have a baby, to also, we have a code of conduct. No more hooking up after the fact. No more doing the, hey, I'll come see the baby if I get to sleep in the bedroom with you type shit. I know that's not the majority of men. I really don't, but that's just the shit that women say that these men do. So we're going to go ahead and have that conversation as well. And that's going to be part of the code. Neely Fuller Jr. speaks about this all the time. And I think that that's what we need to do in the community, in this community as well. We've all reacted to Kevin Samuels like crazy, and props to him. But it would be so amazing if we had all these content creators also doing reactions to Neely Fuller Jr. That's just my thoughts. We need a code.
Definitely. Well, I mean, not only do we need a code, but you got to look at the construct. What needs to take place in order for people to start abiding by that code, right? Because what we can see is that we got plenty of examples here in America of people that do this the right way, right? The people that already have the established community, right? One of the things that's going to happen, and unfortunately, like, we need to understand that black men actually do want to be with black women. That's first and foremost. They do want to be with black women. So if women are going to not make the decision to, however, if do anything, the one thing no woman wants to be is undesirable. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take that route. We're going to have to make their behavior completely undesirable. Who could tell me how you make a woman feel undesired? The best way to do it.
Ghost her.
Choose someone else.
Oh, okay.
So you see several movements on the rise.
Yes.
Where men are about to go choose that black man you thought wasn't nothing, or you thought he was whack, or he wasn't attractive enough to get with, or he didn't have the right look for you to get with. You are about to see the men in your ethnic group choose other women, build families with other women, be good to other women, attend soccer games with other women, give their 401ks to other women, die and leave their land to other women.
Dude, they don't care.
Yeah, well, no. Right now, so I think they behave like they don't care. But we always say it. We always say it in these spaces. Women don't know what they want. I'm not the type. I'm not extreme enough to say women are children. I don't say that. What I say is that women have are being distracted by the moment, right? They're extremely impressionable. Someone told them that, we gave them the ability to work. We gave them the ability to achieve. What they're going to find out is they don't have the same capacity for any of that men do. And that when they do have children, they're actually going to want to focus on them. Not that it means you're a bad professional, but it's innate in you to want to see your children grow up instead of be at work sweating it out like your husband. So as they get older, these things are going to start to occur to them naturally. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so I think that's what's going to happen.
By the time they're already at that age, and what we have to figure out how to communicate in the community is get the youth to start having logical conversations. We have to figure out how to get the girls who are 21 years old to start thinking logically, because we haven't been thinking logically for a community for the last 50 years, and we've seen what's been happening. We've seen our uncles not being able to see their kids. We've seen all this shit happening, so we have to start educating the youth on how to move differently, especially when 30 years from now, I really don't think that marriage is even going to be something that most people will even want to strive for, especially with us having an ADD mentality.
Absolutely.
So when you say no marriage, though, there's got to be a new construct.
Mr. Rich, sorry. Let me get Gavin in here, and then we're going to
open
it up and then close it out right after.
Yeah, I'm glad you hit on that trigger, Mike. I was gonna go down this lane here. So, I hear you guys speaking a lot about trying to get women back in order. And I don't think there's enough time to try to get these women back in order. It's kind of too far gone. I recommend brothers get your passports, divest, get your passports. If you can't find a good woman, get your passport. And that don't mean go to like Thailand or something. You can still go find you a sister out here somewhere, but it don't got to be in America. So
I'll always tell men you have way more father rights outside of America than you do in America. And I have more father rights here in Germany than most Germans. So if you can find Black women in many countries in the EU system and have a very great father situation.
I see you shaking your head, Chris. What you got? What you want to say?
I want to hear this. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
What you got? You got some pushback?
First order of business, Trigger Mike, congratulations on your show. I'm proud of you, brother.
Hey, man. Appreciate that.
Yes,
Secondly, let me try to address some of the stuff I heard, and I'm going to try to be respectful as much as possible. To WTP's point, you're right. We do need a code. I got 95 of them on standby. If you guys put your emails in the back chat, I'll screenshot and I'll send you guys, and you guys could go from there. You can modify it, you can use it, and we can have that discussion off camera. Now, to what he said about how to co-parent. Nah, bro. Nah, I don't like that. Because we see even co-parenting in a good situation, and I put that in air quotes, you still don't get the results of how Black men are supposed to be, how women need to conduct themselves. So that concept does not work at all. Now, you did say...
Wait. Why does that concept not work, sir?
Because although Black men are doing better, some people believe just because you have a job, you go to school, you graduate, you won. No, you have not. That might be good for lower people standards. The question is, we're celebrating people for doing what they're supposed to do. So, and let me speak to the man real quick. A man's supposed to have a job. A man's supposed to go to school and get some type of degree or some certificate, whatever the case may be. My response to that is this: so what? What are you doing in real life situations? If something comes to your front door, how do you handle it as a man? Do you make the right decisions? Does it make sense? Does it add value? Will it help you achieve your goal? Now, if you really want to go back and look at one's track record and that concept, people, particularly men, have failed miserably. Like they don't know what it is to play their position as a man inside the house and outside the house. So that whole co-parenting thing, not the narrative I want to push on Black people. Now, when it comes to marriage,
but even though most of us are born outside of marriage, if we want to improve the Black community, wouldn't it be very logical to focus on co-parenting since most of us are not born in marriage situations anyway?
No, because if you want to compare,
yes.
The answer to that is no, because you want to compare kids coming from a two-parent marriage versus co-parenting, it's night and day. So I don't want to push that narrative.
Kids co-parenting versus kids being not okay. I'm comparing healthy co-parenting, marriage, and pretty much what's in our community, which is the drama that we have back and forth. This is the majority of our community. If we can transition that to healthy co-parenting instead of trying to skip that and go straight to marriage, that's a benefit. And then once we're here, then maybe we can start focusing on marriage. But right now we have to start at the foundation, which is one, we got to figure out as a Black community how to make Black men and Black women like each other again. We say we love each other, but we don't like each other. And we've all had family members that we love and don't like. That's the Black community.
And you want to introduce having a child with somebody you don't want to be with for the rest of your life as a good concept?
Culture, sir.
I think co-parenting, the foundational co-parenting, is a bad idea. Because what you're saying is, let's say you get involved with somebody, like it's a strong possibility it's not going to work out, so you guys should co-parent. Why am I
teaching that to my son? Why would you teach that to your daughter to go make the same mistake that mommy and daddy did? I think it's just, you have to think about the future. You have to, I know I tell people have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. When it comes to raising kids, you need to have 15, 20, 30, 40 years planned out regarding that, or else your legacy is going to be on shaky foundation.
Sure.
So that's my case on this, because we're talking about, it's not about us. When it comes to co-parenting, the underlying tone is, what does mommy want? What does daddy want? What does the parent want? There's a child involved. Think about the child when they get to their 20s and when they have grandchildren and your grandchildren's grandchildren. You gotta we talk about this legacy shit, but we really don't know how to properly plan for the legacy, which starts right now. So get rid of the idea. Now, when it comes to co-parenting, I will say this. If you're currently in a situation where you need to co-parent, I understand that. But you better be raising your child. Do not make the same mistakes that mommy and daddy did. You're going to find a wife. You're going to find a husband. You guys are going to stick it together so you guys can build your legacy and your foundation on something much more better than what we brought you into this world. That's what I'm saying.
I think we have to be a lot more logical and realistic.
So let me ask you this something. What are we talking? Are we trying to save the whole community? Is that the rabbit hole we're going down?
Yeah, no, before you answer that, let me go on this co-parenting thing. What you're saying, brother, about teaching people to be good co-parents is probably easier to have a narrative to make people say, don't have a baby until you get married. But I mean, I'd rather tell people that narrative than to have a whole bunch of, because let me just add this. The co-parenting situation is saying you're going to have a baby with somebody you don't want to be with. And there's going to be jealousy. There's going to be personality. When you start to move on to another woman or another man, these things complicate the situation, even if you want to have a good relationship. I mean, but let me, before you go, a part of being a parent in a 2-parent household is that a lot of things you teach your children, you teach through serendipity, just by being there. Because if you're not there, especially as a man in a house, there's certain things that kids say or your wife says that you have to catch in the moment. And not being in the house around your kids, available to you 24/7, there's some things you'll miss, period.
Do you realize co-parenting is a 50-50 situation? So the kids will be with you, and you as a father get to raise your kids and the idea, and you can have them in your house and raise them without the mother being around, and you have to kind of sugarcoat the way you want a father. I think it's actually a lot of times a lot easier to be a father to your children when the mother is not around. Not all the time, but I do think.
Oh, what happened to him?
I'm about to say, let me ask him this real quick.
Oh, that what just happened?
I think
God did.
I think
no,
hold on, let him finish. Let him finish.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
You dropped off for a second.
You dropped off. You
muted up.
All right, so Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports.
Yeah.
So what you're saying essentially is prevention is better than cure. Is that what you're saying?
All right. Well, prevention is part of the cure, right? I mean, one of the things, I have children, right? They're grown now, but so many things that I've caught just by being there.
What up, Bruce?
By serendipity, that if I would have missed, I don't know what my kids might have turned out, because it's such, life is such a thin thread. Sometimes you need to hear the things that you need to hear in the moment. That's where they have the best effect. And the 50-50 proposition, when I want to talk to my kids and I don't want my wife involved, I'll tell her, listen, this is for me to say, and just move out of the way and let me do what I got to do. So we don't have to be in different households. I'm just saying I don't agree with somehow trying to build a paradigm where it's okay for people just having kids out of wedlock because we can co-parent together. But it's not going to work.
I don't think he was saying it was better or something we should aim towards. It's just a grim reality that the majority are out here co-parenting. That's just what it is. So I think he's saying let's try to help fix this middle space here. Let's try to make this as best we can, then move on to the ultimate goal of being married and having.
Yeah, but okay, sometimes
real quick, my point was, who are we to say that all the people that are good parents, they're already doing it? How you gonna make somebody do something that they can't do?
Exactly.
I'm trying to say, let's make people better parents. Who are we to say all the people are? It's already in you. If you're a good parent, you're a good parent. We can't go around like some type of
exactly. How do you do that? Yeah,
nice, fellas. Let's get Hink in here because unfortunately we started late and I had a hard limit, so I want to get Hink in here. Then we're gonna get final thoughts on the topic. What's going on, Mr. Hink?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this afternoon? How y'all doing?
What's going on,
how you doing, bro?
Well, I lightweight agree with what my man said because a majority of us right now, single parents, right? If you're a single parent, you're not married, or maybe even divorced. I'm in a situation where I'm divorced. So even if we do get these people married, we know half of them are not going to stay married, correct? So they still gonna have to figure out a way to co-parent. So there's nothing wrong with educating and teaching people how to co-parent and how to have conflict resolution with their exes or whatever the case may be. We're gonna have to do that regardless. I know we don't want to push that or promote that or talk about that, but we have to. Just like we don't want to talk about having our sons wearing protection. Shit, we're gonna have to. They're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. So we got to educate our kids and enlighten them and teach them about safe sex, because it's going to happen regardless if we wanted to or not. They're still going to dip in the water. They're going to try. So as far as dealing with co-parenting, we're going to have to do that. Again, not everybody's going to stay together for the rest of their life. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So let's talk about it now. And we can also talk about, hey, encouraging our kids. Hey, son, I made a mistake. Me and your mother got divorced. It didn't work out. I wish it would. I'm not a fan of divorce. I encourage you to do what you can to stay with your wife as long as you can. Whatever preventive measures you need to do it. Yes, we could do all of those things, but I'm not for shitting on one thing just to promote the other. You know what I'm saying? I promoting this and shitting on this. No, that don't make sense to me, but maybe to other people it does.
Hold on, Hank. I better real quick, and let me clarify myself when I say this. I am a product of a divorced household. I decided to ride out with my father. Now I am married. But the thing is, my father, along with members of the church, obviously, teach me this is what a man's supposed to do in a relationship. This is what a wife is supposed to do. So regardless of where you came from, you need to learn from those mistakes so you're wiser, so you don't make the same bad choices. What I'm saying is, although I don't want to, yes, everybody's not going to get married, unfortunately, due to circumstances, but we need to stop putting a band-aid over a bullet hole and really just get down into finding out what went wrong. How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Because it seems like we're condoning the idea of, well, you're going to get divorced or you're going to have sex, so here's what you need to do. We're kind of like giving them license to go buck wild, if that makes any sense.
Got you.
Yeah, but that's the same thing on teaching our sons to wear protection. Some people may say we're giving them a license to have sex. No, not necessarily, but we got to also prepare ourselves. Just like we get life insurance, we know it's inevitable. It's going to happen. We're going to die, so we prepare ourselves. Same thing like we do. We should do a whole lot of stuff. We got to prepare. We got to look at the market with stock. Okay, looks like it's starting to trend down. Maybe I want to either hold tight or I can make my sale, make my move. Which one? I got to prepare myself. In all aspects, you should prepare. As a man, we should see 10, 4, 8 months down the road. We shouldn't just see 2 days down the road like women do. We know that's what the ladies do. They just see what's right there in front of them. We got to see a way farther ahead in order to lead them and guide them and help them out. So we got to do that for our sons, and we also have to do it for our daughters. So I understand what you're saying, Chris. But to me, I just feel like we have to talk about this. And being a co-parent, it's a must. Right now, this is where we at.
You know what? I think the benefit is the funny. It's not even a contentious topic, right? Because the one thing that you want to know in a group of men, whom I believe all are fathers, you got to understand that as men, we need to show up. And it don't matter what your situation is, when you realize that men show up to have the conversation in respect to taking care of the kids and the situation. It's really a win-win when you look at it all around, right? So, hey man, thank y'all so much. We're about to get final thoughts on the topic, and I want y'all to answer this specific question for me. Thank y'all for being part of my first broadcast. By the way, this is went exceptionally well, if I say so myself. All right, fellas, and we'll start with the top here with marriage, politics, and sports, and then we'll go to Mr. Walker, Hank, Christopher, then Gavin next. If hope is dope to women, what is the cure? Just a short wrap up. We'll go starting with you, Mr. Marriage, Politics, and Sports.
Well, it's hope is dope to women. I mean, I'm just thinking what we talked about. The cure is one, not trying. Well, first I would say we have to say there's always going to be some hope to all the elements that we talked about. Now, I know your narrative from the beginning talked about how hope might have been negative for women. So what's the cure? I really wish I had a good, distinct answer for you. I mean, I have my opinions, what we need to do, and we're talking about modern women, right? For the most part, the women who grew up in this feminist age. I just think that I think men are the cure to everything women need. Men on their purpose. Men are moving in the right direction, you know, because I believe no matter what kind of woman we're talking about, like I made that Martha Stewart kind of thing before, this is a billionaire woman willing to risk it all for a guy who wanted to do some insider trading. She actually went to jail for that. And so she's at the top of her game, billionaire, still did something stupid, you know, because a man led her. So I just tell men, you got to be on your purpose, make sure you're moving forward. And some of the chaos that women are naturally bound to do, you know, you have to make sure that you're the order. Don't put her box above your principles and move forward, and women follow. They just follow. And you know, one of the things, I mean, there's a lot of little tentacles, and I'll be quick. We have to redefine what we mean by Black community. Because it's not one community. Most of us who have anything, we don't live in the inner cities. You know, there's a whole dynamic down there where relationships are more, like we're saying, broken and shattered. How many real strong marriage bonds are still living in the inner city? As soon as you can get it together, you and your wife and kids are moving out. And so there's a whole subculture, a class issue. And that's another topic for another day. But, you know, men need to just move forward and women will follow. I think so. And then there's a lot of tentacles to that, but that's my quick, short answer.
Got you. Man, that was profound too. I agree. Mr. Walker, thank you so much for joining us today. See you next time. And we actually going to try to do this every day. So morning time seems to be a good time. So please, anytime you are available, you're welcome to come on up, sir. Salute to you. Mr. Walker.
Hey, thanks for having me, Trigger Mike. But hope to me, I really don't like the word hope. Hope to me is like prayer without works, and that's just dead. So for me, for women, with this, with hope, put some work behind what you hoping for, what you aspire to obtain. You got to put some work, some effort behind it. You got to need it. Otherwise, just being hopeful. You know, what did Gregory say? I hope my car, you know, start in the morning. I hope I don't get fired. Hope is dead. Got to put some work, some effort, you know, behind it. And again, I'll keep saying it. You got to believe and surrender to something greater than yourself. I believe that's the biggest underlying issue in the community.
Okay. Man, you just want to be profound today, huh? That was fire, bro. But not only that, like, yeah, I couldn't even say it better myself. That word hope, that's why I'm saying it is a drug. Drugs are bad for you. They will alter your mental state. But I mean, I could go in for days. Thank you so much for joining us. Anytime you're available, please jump on, sir.
Oh,
until next time.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, well, Gavin X pulled up first. Mr. Gavin, take us out. What are your final thoughts? If hope is dope to women, what is the cure?
Well, I would say be realistic, right? Date in your lane. Because what are they being so hopeful for? Like, what are they hopeful about? Like having like a picket fence or a big wedding, a resourceful man, a great stepdad. Like, what are they hopeful about? Right? So I would say be realistic and quit looking for this, you know, 6'5" man with a ton of money in the bank, and just date in your lane. Get you a regular guy. Because if most women said, I would date the Amazon driver or whatever, just whatever a regular guy is to you, not some guy making quote unquote 6 figures. It's just an internet talking point. Like, I want a guy, they even say, I want a guy making more than 6 figures. Right? And that's what he says that. That's 7 figures. They say, oh, and you know what I mean? It goes down that hole. That they don't even know what they're saying. They're just saying it. So date in your lane. Be realistic, ladies. There's a lot of guys out here. But I went on to say earlier, like, guys, get your passports, because I think the software with these women, most of them, I don't want all police come in, but I would say the vast majority ain't no coming back. We can save the babies in the next generation, but as far as the adults, it's really getting a little hopeless out here, man. I say that much.
Definitely.
So I appreciate you having me up, brother.
Always a pleasure, my man. Anytime you're available, you are welcome.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day, man.
Time. Yes, sir. All right, Chris, take us out. If hope is dope to women, what is the cure?
If hope is dope, what's the cure? It's results. Hope doesn't breed results. So to get the results that you're looking for, you gotta put work in, get off your ass, get off the cell phone, and go make yourself better so you can get what you actually desire. You can sit there and hope all day. You know, there's none of your hopes, to whoever this applies to, none of your hopes has ever came true just by sitting around doing nothing. So do yourself a favor and go do some work. To that, congratulations, brother. I'll see you on these YouTube streets.
Always, man. You already know what it is. We've been rocking out for a minute. I'll see you next time. Keep up the hard work. The dude work more than anybody on YouTube or off. That dude at work.
Hey man, you know I had to take I had to take a break and come support, brother. So
yeah, out here dropping gems at work. That's what I'm talking about. Dedication, man. Till next time.
Yes, sir.
Hank, my man, you know it's all love all the time. Appreciate the support. Thank you for coming through. I don't know if you were listening at the beginning, but the topic was, is hope like dope to women? Basically say they fall for it. It's intoxicating to them. It's what makes them choose low quality men in the hopes that he becomes an upstanding man that they want. So if hope is dope to women, what is the cure?
Man, it may not be none. It may not be none. And I think the thing about it, we always say not everybody's going to make it, right? Mm-hmm. We realize that not everybody's going to make it. So what we need to try to do as men, try to save the ones we can and focus on these babies. And to hell with these, the ones that don't want to come over. Leave them for the Dustos, leave them for the Pookies and the Ray Rays and anybody else who wants to deal with them. Leave them at a restaurant, in the streets, leave them wherever. But everybody's not going to make it. So we don't need to try to drag everybody over the threshold. You know what I'm saying, Mike? And again, educate, teach, encourage, uplift the women who are with us, who's willing to do the work. If you're willing to put that work in, get down there and, you know, get your knees dirty, your elbows dirty, your fingers a little dirty to do that work. If that means you got to take out a friend or two to get that man, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. So I encourage women to do that. But like I said, in the comments, man, as men, we need to stop following these bad type women that we're trying to leave behind. Because I think that's a problem with a lot of men. They're following these women. And if they stop following these women and be the leaders that they need to be, and think they can be and what they was born to be, we'll be looking at something totally different. Absolutely. Then maybe some of these women who were trying to leave behind, maybe they'll start taking notes. Because now they don't have the attention, because, you know, the good men are already gone. They left with the good women. Now some of these Pookies and Ray Rays, they trying to cross over and get up out of that lifestyle. They may be trying to do something different. Now, if we could bring them along, and guess what's going to come with them? They're women. They're going to follow because they love that attention, Mike.
Yep.
They love that attention. So in order for them to have it, if the Pookies ain't give them and the upstanding men ain't give them, who's giving it to them. So we just need to do what we need to do as men, man, and just be the leaders we are. You know what I'm saying? Protect ourselves at all times. As black men, we got to do what we got to do.
That's
so
true.
You know how that goes, big bro. Man, I'm happy for you, man, and congratulations on your show. Much respect to you, brother, because I see you're doing your things on a lot of shows, and after pushing your message, that's really a positive and good uplifting message for men. So I like that. So I appreciate JR having this thing for you, brother. Congratulations.
Man, thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure. And you know, we're gonna chop it up. Anyway, we just find ourselves on a lot of the same panels, but always positivity. And I mean, you're one of the voices that I believe, just to say this to you personally, man, when I say women may not like what we hear, but I don't think a lot of women know what love looks like coming from a man. This is love. I love you enough to tell you the truth. I don't even care if I'm hated in the interim. You're going to hear this truth. And I believe it's also protection. This type of truth is their protection. You start listening, if they start listening to the hinks of the world, the men who have done some things, had a child, tried to be good to a woman, maybe didn't work out, but you're real about every circumstance you have in life and are willing to share and correct other people. There's so much value in that, right? So we look at, they're always using this term value. That is what's value, the perspective and lived experiences of men like you, Hink. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming by.
No doubt.
Until next
Thank
time.
you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Oh, right on, sir.
No, you good. Hey, don't forget to read them super chats.
I'm about to do that right now.
All right, now. Be good now.
Yep. Y'all, man, I appreciate everything. Thank you for coming to a first inaugural. I don't know why I keep using that word, but let's get to these super chats. My man Bruiser, what's up? Concur? Is it Concur? I hear people call it Conquer, but y'all check him out on his network. Dude is doing work. That's what I like to see. My man is doing work. He's on here on YouTube as well. He has a show called The Groomsman Show. Congratulations on the Trigger Mike show. Dude is perfect for the network. I rock with him. Shout out, Hink. Growth to you guys. A positivity coming your way, my man. Appreciate the support. The Gemini 199. Great convo. Great show and convo, Trigger Mike. Appreciate it, man. We do it just for y'all. Trigger, you got a winner show. Just hold order. Mr. O'Shea, thank you so much, and I will do my best. Thank you for contributing to the comments and the dialogue today. Clement Gray, I'm glad you are achieving at jobs, education, and politics, but where is your achievement when it comes to marriage and birth of children? It's not there. Realer words have never been spoken today. I mean, they know they got to get it together. So eventually, they'll get to it. All right. Salute to Trigger Mike. Christopher J., thank you for your contribution today. Concur Network, my man Bruiser again. The black community is the nuclear family. Let's start there and build the village. Absolutely. 100%. True words. John O., a foreign currency, $11.99. Thank you for showing love today, man. And Jeffrey Woodland, $3.40. Giving a little something for your first show. Much love. Hey, respect. I appreciate that. We're going to try to do this every day. All right. So definitely look out for that notification, man. My name is Trigger Mike. Again, I thank the Lapeef Network. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe. In fact, don't just subscribe. Hit that like button now. And also, if you haven't, join the channel. Join for the perks on the Lapeef Network. Show your support. This type of dialogue is so important for our young brothers and sisters. They need to hear this if they're going to make positive, motivating changes in their life. We got more hot topics coming for you as always. I appreciate y'all, and just look out for that notification for the Trigger Mike show. Subscribe for notifications. Hit that little bell tab, and you'll get them. JR, take us out whenever you're available. I appreciate that, man.
Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the greatest network ever.